with me. Josh is like, I was. He gave us a little butt kicking, okay? So you guys be prepared. I hope you've messaged your team and you have your girls on. He just speaks truth and love. I love anybody. Enneagram 3 over here. I'm a 2-3. 2-3. Anybody on Enneagram? Lindsay messaged me the other day. She's like, what's your Enneagram? And I had to go look it up. I'm either a 2-3 or a 3-2, but I know those are my two numbers. But he gave us a good butt whooping at the Super Saturday, and I'm like, I remember this guy. I used to work and run the DC Market Council, and we brought Josh Coates out to speak to the DC Super Saturday, and he just does a phenomenal job. I have a whole bio here. I'm like the worst reader ever, so like thinking about reading it kind of makes me nervous, but I'm going to read it, okay? Josh is a member of the John Maxwell team. Little side note on John Maxwell. When I first started out with coaching, I kind of clung on to John Maxwell because one of the summit recognition opportunities with Beachbody when I went to the MGM Grand in Vegas was I got to go and be a special guest at this John Maxwell conference. And all I knew was I was this like emerald coach, new to the business. I flew out to Vegas, which for me, South Carolina girl, was like, I'm flying out to Vegas. Like, this is like Mount Sinai to me. Like, it was really weird to me to fly out to Vegas, right? And this big author was going to be there, and I earned this spot in this chair where there was only like 120 people in the room, and I had this spot, and I got to hear John Maxwell speak. Well, he is a member of the John Maxwell team. I have so much respect for that man. I mean, like, I want him to be my father. Like, he is like the dad of all dads. If you've ever read or heard John Maxwell speak, you could like lay down and be like, okay, just keep reading, right? He's just got a phenomenal voice. So I know that he's in good hands in terms of mentorship. Here we go. He has trained thousands of training groups, helping people every month increase their focus, motivation, and sales and income, which I know that is on y'all's scope in terms of 2020. So that's why I wanted to bring him before you guys. Josh has one-on-one mentored over 10 top 10 coaches and superstar diamonds, you guys. So he works hand in hand with some of the superstar diamonds within Beachbody as well. Josh is the #1 bestseller of, you guys know I don't curse really unless I type it out, okay? So there you go. See the book right there? F Leadership. Like, I can type it, but I can't say it. It's really weird. Sometimes I can unless I'm really mad. And he is also the host of Your Push Coach podcast, which is really cool. So I'm super pumped to have him on this call. You guys, please put away any distractions that you might have tonight. I've got people on my balcony with a fire pit right now having drinks, and my kids are watching movies, but I am like laser focused on the wealth of knowledge that Josh is going to pour into our hearts and minds tonight. So I'm going to mute my line. I'm going to give you the floor. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat.
Thank you, Jatanya. I appreciate it very much. Can everyone hear me okay? Can everyone hear me okay? Show me some jazz fingers. This is what I do in my groups because of the fact that we have to mute everybody. I'm like an Enneagram 3, which means I love attention, basically, and I will work as hard as I have to get attention. So since we have to mute everyone because it's, obviously like 1,000 kids and dogs and people on the balcony drinking that are being noisy, what I need from you is, since I can't hear your response, I need jazz fingers, okay? So if I say something that like, you're like, oh, dang, I like really needed that. So I grew up in a church where everyone said amen, like all the time. It's like, amen, brother, amen. Oh, that's good. That's good. So if you feel like saying amen, brother, just give me some like jazz fingers. That's like the amen, brother. Okay. Does that make sense? Is that cool? So Jatanya, thanks for having me. I appreciate you so much. Homegirl is like a fireball full of energy. When I came to DC, she like hopped up on stage and I was like, okay, girl. Okay. Like, she about to set the stage. I got to like bring my energy level up just to match the MC, which is always nice because honestly, I go to a lot of Super Saturdays and I feel like the MC set no tone whatsoever and I got to come up and create all of the energy. So I appreciate that about her so much. So tonight I want to talk to you about what I call the success formula. Is there anyone on this call that wants to have success? Show me some jazz fingers if you want to have success. You know, I know that looks different for everybody. Some of you are new on the team, and success to you might look like paying for your Shakeology so that it doesn't have to come out of your family's expenses for you to be healthy. For some of you, it might look like taking on the credit card debt or taking on the car payment or the mortgage. For some of you, it looks like turning this into a full-time career. You know, you've been watching Jitanya and you're like, that's what I want to do. Regardless of what success looks like to you, I want to share with you the full picture of what it actually looks like to create that success. How many of you are like, you know, I watch Jitanya, I watch other top coaches, maybe after the national wake up call, I go and follow every single speaker, maybe too many speakers, and I see all these people and I'm like, I want to get to where they are, but I can't seem to quite put all of the pieces together to figure out what that looks like. So for many years, I've heard a lot of people, and I used to be guilty of this several years ago, when people weren't having success, hearing people that just said, well, if you're not hitting big numbers, like you just have to go do more work. Like you need to do more, like go do more. And that was kind of like the advice that was just put on autopilot. Like if you're struggling, you needed more personal development. You needed to post more often. You needed more invites, basically just more all the freaking time. Right. And I realized after working with people in lots of small groups and working with people one-on-one, I do one-on-one calls as well as group calls. I started realizing that's not the full picture. And that's actually very misleading advice because there is more to the picture than just what you do. And so this formula, I believe, gives you the full picture. And when you can put all of these pieces together, first of all, some of you are going to be set free tonight. Some of you are going to realize you've been measuring yourself against the wrong standard and that there's a really big hole and a really big gap in your business. And up until tonight, you had no idea what it even was. And I swear to you, once you see what that hole is, you're going to feel like your entire life has been changed because there's nothing in the world more deflating than feeling like there's a place you want to get to, but not knowing how to get there. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're doing all of the things and the things that you know to do, but it's not getting you where you want to go, it really robs you of hope. And John Maxwell says that leaders are dealers in hope. Now, here's the thing about being a leader. You're all leaders, whether you want to call yourself a leader or not. If you're on social media presenting a message and creating a platform, you're a leader. Now, you might not have many people following you yet, but if any one person is following you, you are a leader. Now, here's the thing about leading people. It is only successful if we have hope to deal. If leaders are dealers in hope, what we do only works if we have some drugs to deal. If you're sold out on drugs, you're not a very good drug dealer, okay? If hope is the only drug we have to deal, when you run out of hope, you no longer have anything to offer the world around you. And you can still post, and you can still start conversations and do invites and use the exact same scripts that everyone tells you to give. But if your hope is gone, none of it matters because you no longer have a product to sell. You guys see what I'm saying? I understand that you're technically selling health and fitness products and a business opportunity, but all of us, regardless of what products we have, hope is the thing that we're really selling. You're selling to someone the hope that they can become healthier, the hope that they can feel more confident in their own skin and in their clothes. You're selling someone the idea that there's hope that they can have a purpose and a passion and fulfillment. It's hope, right? When your hope is gone, you have nothing to sell. And that's when business gets really hard. Because it's like the gas has been removed and you are no longer driving the car based on gas. You're just got it in neutral and you're just pushing it with your own weight. And that's all you have to offer. And it's exhausting. And so I come on tonight. I'm just going to be honest with you up front. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be pretty mean. Like one of my nicknames is Mean Josh. It's kind of like my second identity is Mean Josh. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to step on some toes tonight. And I'm going to say some things you really don't want to hear, but I need you to understand it's because I love you so much that I want you, if nothing else, I want you to walk away from tonight's call and at least just know what it would take to get what you really want in life. And if you realize that what I tell you isn't something you're willing to do, then at least you can just be honest with yourself and just say, I'm not willing to do that. But what I would hate for anyone to do is to spend the next 5 years of their lives pretending that they can get something they don't even know what it takes. Does that make sense? Are you guys with me? Is everybody cool with that? Are you cool with me stepping on some toes tonight? Is that all right? Courtney's kind of okay with it. She's not okay. That's a little better. That seemed like I don't know. That's okay. You don't have to make up your mind right now. We'll figure it out as you go. So the success formula looks like this. I want you to write this down. Consistency plus intensity plus worth plus time. Consistency, I'll type it up here for anyone that's maybe like watching the recording, or maybe you're driving right now and you can't, that way it'll go with the recording. Plus worth, slow typer over here, plus time. And if you'll notice, I put worth in all caps and in parentheses. I invite you to do the same. And it equals whatever you want. Oops, typo. It equals whatever you want. So anything you want in life, you can apply this formula to. So people that are struggling to just make sales at all, I teach them this formula. People that are making sales but say, dude, like, I don't know how to recruit a team. Guess what? I teach them how to apply this formula to recruiting. I get some girls that come to me in my Push Elite group and they're recruiting, usually 1 to 2 star level, and they cannot figure out for the life of them how to turn recruits into productive team members so that they can do things like rank advance and hit elite. And I teach them how to apply this same formula to their leadership. Anything you're struggling with, health and fitness, same thing. Anything you're trying to develop in life takes these 4 things, and I want to walk you through them one by one, okay? So first of all, let's start off with consistency, because it is the foundation that the house is built upon, and without it, nothing else matters. I need you to understand, next to consistency, I want you to write down these words: doing the right things. Doing the right things. This is very, very, very important, because I get on calls with people all the time that say, Josh, I've been doing this for 4 years. I've been doing this for 5 years. I've been doing it for 6 years. I've been doing this for X amount of however long. And I still haven't made the kind of money I want to make. I still haven't rank advanced. I haven't had elite, blah, 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 blah. And I'm pretty honest with people. I tell them, I don't care. I literally don't care how long you've been signed up for the company. What I want to know is how many consecutive days, weeks, and months you've done the right things. That's all I care about. I don't care if you have a TBB ball cap from 6 years ago. Your followers don't care. Nobody in the world is giving you credit for how long you've been signed up. If anything, that's counting against you, not for you. So please don't brag to me about how long you've been signed up. I don't care. I don't care if you signed up on the very first day that Carl announced we were going to have a business. I mean, if you did, you'd probably be really wealthy, because all of the people that signed up right after that worked really hard back then. But all I'm saying is I don't care. And I also don't care how hard you worked 3 years ago if you haven't worked this year. I don't care how hard you worked 3 months ago if you haven't worked hard this month. The only thing that matters in your business is how many consecutive days, weeks, and months have you done the right things. And I need you to understand that designing logos, coming up with team names, starting YouTube channels and podcasts doesn't count for any of the right things. Now, if you do those things, awesome, bonus. Bonus, you get a star next to your name. Good for you. But none of those things put money in your pocket. My first year in business, being mentored by John Maxwell, who, by the way, charges something like 6 figures just to walk out on the stage and talk. I made 2 sales and $500 total In my first whole 12 months, I always joke with Beachbody coaches. It's fun because I know the Beachbody lingo better than I know other companies' lingo. I would joke with Beachbody coaches. I didn't even hit Success Club for the year. I made 2 sales. Well, I hit Success Club 4 for the year, not even for the month. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm not sure if they've ever done this before, but they might start a new precedent of kicking people off of the John Maxwell team. And it might start with me. Like, I might be the first guy that J Max has said, who's this guy over here? Like, do we have some type of a clause in there where we can remove people just because they suck? Like, can we do that? And here's what happened. I realized in year 1, I was working really hard. I was hustling. But you know what I was doing? I was doing what every single podcast episode that I downloaded told me to do. I was starting a podcast. I was starting a YouTube channel. I had a fan page on Facebook. I had an Instagram. I had everything you could possibly imagine because I had this idea that busy equals productive. And at the end of year 1, reflecting on what I had done in my entire first year, I wasn't really sure how to even measure or calculate the work that I had done because it had been so scatterbrained and all over the place. And I was smart enough because John Maxwell taught me how to self-reflect. I was smart enough to sit down at the beginning of year 2 and say, I don't want year 2 to look like year 1. And I think the only chance I have is to sit down and decide what my priorities are. And I need to decide, are there a few activities that I can do on repeat over and over and over and over so that I then have a chance to judge and measure whether these activities actually work as opposed to just throwing shit at the wall and hoping something sticks. So in year 2, I said, if it does not put money in my pocket, I'm not doing it. Year 2, my business plan was this simple. Do personal development. I mean, I'm selling personal development. So for me, that was being a product of the product. If I'm going to sell personal growth, I better be doing it on a level higher than anybody else's. Number 2, I'm going to post on social media every single day. John Maxwell taught me that you got to add value if you want to ask for value. Number 3, I'm going to take time every single day to reach out to people and invite them to try my product, which for me, I was a life coach. So I was just simply messaging people and asking them if they would be interested in a free one-on-one session to see if there's anything I could help them with. In other words, I was doing the equivalent of sending free samples, okay? But it was an invite process. I had to get in people's inbox. I said, I'm just going to do these activities every single day. And here's what I found. In year 2, instead of coming home from my full-time job and working all night, it took me about 2 hours total to do those simple things, but feel like I was accomplishing so much more. I would then put away my phone. I didn't even have a laptop at that point. Everything was on my phone. Put away my phone, and I would go spend time with my kids and just be a good dad. That was my focus. And in 2 hours a day, guys, my business started to grow. And I started to line up clients, and I started to make money. And I started to watch my business go viral because I was willing to do the most important things over and over and over and over and over. Didn't worry about a website. Didn't worry about learning how to run Facebook ads or what the algorithm. All I did was just those 3 simple things. Now, doing this, I ran into a bunch of Beachbody coaches. And I found out that you guys had this thing called the vital behaviors. And I'll be real with you for a second. I was pissed at all of you. Here's why I was pissed. Because being on the John Maxwell team, I wasn't taught anything like the vital behaviors. I had to figure that out on my own with an entire year of experimenting and failing. They handed it to you on a silver platter. And yet more than anyone I've ever met in my entire life, Beachbody coaches make the business harder than anyone I've ever met. Beachbody coaches obsess over how many different things they need to figure out how to do in order to be successful. And it's like Carl handed it to you on a silver platter. The dude knew what he was talking about when he created these things called the vitals. I mean, if you just stop and think about it for a second, you go to the doctor, they check your vitals. Why do they do that? Because if your vitals are out of whack, it really doesn't matter what else is going on. They need to fix that first, correct? Most of you, your businesses are dead. Now, they look pretty. Like, you got some real nice hair extensions on your business, okay? You got some real nice nails and stuff like that, but literally your heart is exploding because you're not doing any of the things that actually bring it life, which is the vitals. If you're not a product of the product, how are you going to sell something you aren't proving? Notice I didn't say using, I said proving. There's a really big difference between using a product and proving a product. There's a lot of people who use it like drinking Shakeology every single day, but there's a whole other thing about committing to the program and making sure that you're proving, hey, this stuff like actually works. I'm going to show you that I'm getting ongoing results. You see what I'm talking about? A lot of you love to post all over Instagram, make TikToks all freaking day. Some of you would think had professional producers for the kind of TikToks you put out to your gangster rap videos. But you haven't actually reached out to a single person to ask, hey, do you want to try a product? Hey, do you want to like join my team? Hey, I saw that you've been watching my stories every single day. I know you're interested in what I'm doing. Can I send you the deets? Would you want to show up for a sneak peek call? Can I send you a video? Now, here's what's crazy to me. You want to hear what's crazy to me? You will dance to a 90s gangster rap video. And you will like jump off of couches and like twirl around the ceiling for the whole world to see. But you won't send a damn message that says, hey, would you be interested in what I do? Now, this blows my mind. Like if you ask me, hey, Josh, what would you rather do? Send someone an invite or literally just flaunt all of your shit for everyone in the world to see and hope and pray you don't look like an idiot? I'd say, yeah, I think I'd rather copy and paste a message. Like that seems like it actually takes way less effort, way less energy, and I'm less likely to get laughed at. But here's the thing that I have found is that our limiting beliefs are constantly looking for a distraction to keep us busy with the things that allow us to avoid what we should really do. In other words, if you're really afraid of what people think of you, if you're afraid that someone's going to think you're salesy, if you're afraid that someone's going to say no, I've talked to a lot of people that are afraid of like people not responding. Like, oh my God, they didn't even respond. What do I don't know what they even think of me. Like, at least just tell me that you hate my guts. I can't handle it. Because we're so afraid of that, we would rather make dance videos so that we can look like we're doing the work and so that we're not rejected by our own team and we can feel like we fit in. Now, I'm bringing up the dance video knowing 1,000,000% that Jitanya is the queen of the dance videos, and I'm not knocking on Jitanya in any way. The point of this is not to knock on people for doing dance videos. The point is to put into perspective what the dance video really is in your business. It is not a replacement for invites. I am all about doing anything and everything you can to show your energy and your excitement and your passion and to get views and get engagement because it's free advertising. Like, why wouldn't you do free advertising, right? But do you realize how silly it would be to spend all day and night advertising for a product you're not willing to sell? It's like you're taking your time and your energy and you're flushing it down the toilet. I'm going to get even more real. I know I've already got real. Like, we didn't even go there yet. Meanwhile, you look at your spouse, you look at your kids, and you have the audacity to say, give me a minute, I'm busy working my business. That's some bullshit. You are not working your business. You are playing on social media. I got kids that play on social media. I mean, if you want to play on social media, it's fine. I don't have anything against that, but they don't expect to get paid for it. They don't get upset when they don't hit Success Club. They don't think that that should earn them a free cruise once a year. At some point, you got to be honest with yourself. Am I actually doing the right things? Or do I really just like to play and pretend? And again, if you like to play, then that's fine, but just say what it is. If you're gonna tell your family, hey, I need some time, I need some peace and quiet to work my business, go do something that actually moves your business forward. In year 2, you know what I did? I told my kids, I said, hey, when I get to 25 clients, I'm going to double your allowance. Now, back then I only charged like $40 an hour. Now I charge like $750. So back then I needed 25 clients to double their allowance. Okay. I was like, when I get to 25 clients, I'm going to double your allowance. And here's how that worked. When they would say, Daddy, we don't want you to go to the office. Just hang out with us, spend time with us. I'd say, guys, listen. Do you want to have cool birthday parties? Yes, we do. Do you want to have double the allowance? Yes, we do. Do you want to go to Disney? Yes, we do. Then Daddy needs to go to the office for 2 hours. I need 2 hours of just 100% focus on my business. When that 2 hours is up, I will come out of the room. I will not do a single another thing for my business today. I will spend the rest of the night with you. And they'd say, okay, Dad, okay. And here's what this did. One, it helped my kids to also appreciate my business. But number 2, it made me stick to my commitment to go into my office and do something that would actually build it for them. Because otherwise I'm just lying. Otherwise I'm just pretending. And I decided that I want this business so freaking bad. Yes, I wanted to quit a job that I hated, but to be honest, I could do that for the rest of my life if I had to, if my kids would be taken care of. I was sick and tired of passing off my past to my children. I was sick and tired of raising my kids in a house where they were starting to learn that there's never enough money to do the things we want to do in life. That's not a good way to raise. I believe personally in a God of abundance who created this universe for me to enjoy. And I really don't like the idea of telling my kids there is a God who is eternal and infinite, but we're so tiny that we can't even afford to go out to eat on Sunday. To me, that doesn't work. And so I had to take responsibility for changing that. So I had to decide I was going to do the right things. Okay, I beat that horse enough. Let's go on to number 2. Number 2 is intensity. Now, some of you say, yo, dude, I do the right things. I'm doing invites like every single day. I'm doing the work. I'm showing up. I can't figure out why this doesn't work for me. And that's why we got to talk about intensity. If consistency is doing the right things, intensity is having the right energy. I am a big time believer in energy. It's probably my favorite word in the entire dictionary. I personally believe that when you look up the word energy, you find a picture of me right next to it. Maybe that's an arrogant thing to say. I don't care. When I survey people to ask, why did you sign up with me? The word energy is always there, dude. Like your energy, it's contagious. It makes me believe. I'm all about the energy. And here's why I'm all about the energy. Because there are a million things happening on social media today. A million things. And I have to somehow bring something that delivers something that grabs your attention. And if I can't grab your attention, why do you want to take the time to listen to me? And it's like, you can go listen to a band And if the band is like super dull and super boring, but maybe they're like the best musicians in the world, you usually don't care unless you're also a musician. But if the band has all of the energy in the freaking world, most of you aren't musicians like me. You don't really care if they played the right note or a lot. If there's a lot of energy going on, you're all about it. We're drawn to something we can feel. Some of you be on social media and you be taking pictures with like a fourth of a smile and maybe showing like 2 teeth and being like, shoulders done, day 5 of 90. And I don't know why you think anybody cares that your shoulders are done. And I'm not sure how you think they even know what that means. Like, I get what that means. Like, you're done with your shoulder workout. But I want you to imagine a random person who is not into health and fitness like you seeing something that says shoulders done. They're like you got a shoulder job? Like plastic surgery? Like, what do you actually mean shoulders done day 5? Also, 5 of 90? What does that even mean? Some of you aren't putting off anything that anyone can grab onto. And the thing is, guys, give me 2 people, okay? Give me 2 people who both come to you and approach you about something that they're passionate about and they're interested in. Are you going to listen to the person who is excited, so excited they can hardly shut up? Or are you going to listen to the person that's like, well, there's this thing and I don't know if you'd like it or not, or do you even respond to that person? There is something about energy that's contagious and it draws people. And I tell my leaders in my Push Elite group, I'm like, here's the thing. You have to burn so bright that people will literally gather just to watch you burn. People are drawn to a fire. Like, if there's a fire, if something is on fire on the side of the road, people will get in wrecks just trying to see what's going on, right? Because there's just something, it stands out. There's something about it that grabs your attention and it demands you to look its way. Now, the thing is, to be honest, it doesn't matter how good of a leader you are, okay? There is this thing called conversion rate. And it doesn't matter how good you are, you can recruit 100 coaches, and I can promise you, based on statistics, only about 10 out of 100 of them are actually going to like show up on team calls and like do stuff with their business. Pretty sure Jitania would agree with me because I've had that statistic confirmed by about 500 of the most successful coaches. But here's the thing. That 10% kind of conversion rate that really works in about every sales industry. The thing is, the person who burns bright enough to get 100 people might not have a better conversion rate, but the person who has 100 people instead of 10 people, the person who only got 10 people to gather around only got 1 person that sticks around. You see what I'm saying? The person who got 100 people gathered up got 10 people to stick around. And how bright you burn has everything to do with how many people gather around to watch. And therefore, there is a conversion rate based on the amount of people that show up. Does that make sense? Plus, the law of energy that I talk about in my book says that when the energy is high and everyone is excited, even the people who weren't excited decide to get excited because it just seems like something's going on. But when no one's excited, even the people who were excited decide it's not worth their time. You go to a concert. I played in a band for like 15 years. We had a lot of shows where only like 10 people showed up. And let me tell you, when only 10 people show up, even the one guy who's crazy, who's like jumping around and going crazy, gets kind of tired of like entertaining himself and ends up leaving. But I also played shows where we had like 800 people. And with 800 people, even though the same percent, only about 10% of people were there were like really into it. Because 10% of 800 is like 160 people that were really into it, it was contagious enough that it actually caused the rest of the crowd to get into it. Does that make sense? So your energy is everything. I need you to check your energy. I need you to ask yourself when you're posting, when you're doing your stories, when you're doing your conversations and invites, I need you to ask yourself, did I feel something when I posted this? Did I feel something when I typed this? Because if I didn't, they definitely didn't. I send out regular emails to my email list, and I will literally type up paragraphs, and sometimes I'll stop myself and be like, wait a second. I didn't feel shit when I wrote that. And if I didn't feel it, how are they going to feel anything? I'll literally delete the whole thing. I'll take a second. I'll hone into my energy and be like, all right, bro, somebody's life depends on this email today. Now, what are you going to say that is going to change someone's life? What are you going to bring to this email that is going to take someone who is this close to giving up on their dreams to say, I'll go at it one more day? That's the kind of energy I show up. When I go to Super Saturdays, I show up in every single one, and I say to myself, somebody in this crowd is thinking about giving up on their dream today, and I'm their last chance. If I can show up with that kind of energy, somebody's life will be changed by what I have to say. And if you ever need help finding the intensity, just remind yourself that every single time you show up, there is someone watching that's thinking about giving up on their hope and giving up on their dream. And they need you to say something powerful enough to convince them to hang on. And before you go there and think, yeah, but Josh, I don't have a powerful story. Yeah, Josh, but I don't really have anything special to share. I don't have a #1 best-selling book. Let me remind you that every human that is currently successful started off unsuccessful and had to find a way to own and embrace what they did have to offer the world when they didn't have a resume. When I first started off, I couldn't say, oh, I've worked with top 10 coaches. When I first started off, the only thing I could say was this: I am incredibly passionate about what I do, and I believe that if you'll give me 1 hour of your life, I can change your life forever. That's all. That's it. I couldn't, well, I helped X amount of people do this and this. I couldn't say any of that. None of that existed. The only thing I had, and the only thing you have, is the transformation you've seen in your own life. But if you have had any transformation in your life, it's worth sharing. Because there are millions of people, 313 million people just in the United States. You guys can also sell to Canada, United Kingdom, France. There's something like 600 million people. Jitania's not going to find them all. I'm not going to find them all. Melissa McAllister's not going to find them all. Melanie Mitro's not going to find them all. We can't find them all. There are humans sitting on their couch right now thinking about giving up on their hopes, giving up on their dreams. I'm going to take it one step further and say there are people thinking about giving up on their life. And if any one of them are following you, I believe, owe it. I believe that I have a moral and ethical obligation to share my hope with the world. Because if I don't, I believe I failed my Creator, and I believe I failed His creation. Because let's be real. If I'm not going to serve a purpose, what's the point? Like, Netflix isn't that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. I like some Netflix too. I do. But if the only thing we're here to do is Netflix and die, why the hell are we here? I believe that you are here for a reason, that there is a purpose for your life, and that many other lives and purposes are connected to yours. And that when you say no to your dreams, you're not just saying no to you. You're saying no to everyone that's connected to your life. You're saying no to your spouse. You're saying no to your kids. You're saying no even to the family that hates on you and makes fun of you for your stupid shakes. You're saying no to them because you might have been the only person in their life that was actually committed to something positive. And they might be making fun of you right now, but in the back of their head, they're watching. And they're thinking. And the only reason they're making fun of you is because they're hoping. My dad told me this as a kid. He said, Josh, the only reason people make fun of us for our faith is because secretly they're hoping so bad that you will actually stick to your faith regardless of what they say and prove for the first time that someone was actually true to their faith. It's not that they were making fun of you as much as they were testing you. See, when people make fun of you for being the Beachbody girl, for being on the Instagram, showing your transformation pictures, it's not that they're hating on you as much as they're testing you to find out, is there anyone out there who's really going to stick to this all the way through? Because if somebody is actually going to stick with it to the end, I'm going to join their ass. But I'm just sick and tired of watching people flake in and out, make promises that they never follow through on. And I just need to know, are you one of those girls or are you the person who's finally going to stick it out? So I have a responsibility even to my haters to be the person who sticks it out. When I went through my divorce 3 years ago, I had a lot of haters and it was not fun. The hardest thing in the world to do is to love your haters. But my religion personally says I love God with all my heart and I love my neighbor as myself. And that's why I do what I do for a living, guys, because I love humans. And if I can't love my haters, do I really love people? Or do I just like the benefit of people who like me? And if all you like is the benefit of people who like you, you don't really understand purpose. When you have a calling on your life, you understand, I'm here to help people, not to get people to like me. Now, in the process, a lot of people will like you because a lot of people like people that do good and positive things. But I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people hate those people too. A lot of people will look at you, and Jillian Michaels says that people are haters because they look at you and you remind them of who they could have become if they would have done the work they knew they were supposed to do. And that's tough for people. People don't like to look at you and be constantly reminded of what they could look like, sound like, act like, feel like if they would have been willing to do the work you invited them to do a couple months ago, right? So you are a constant reminder to the world in a good way, but sometimes they take it in a bad way. But you got to show up anyways because you got to be. That's why I love superheroes. I'm a little bit of a nerd. Okay. It's a Batman quote. You got to be the superhero they need, even if you're not the superhero they want. You got to show up every day because the world needs you, even if sometimes they don't really want you. Which brings me to number 3, which is worth. Notice it's in my equation, all caps, and it's in parentheses. And it's for a very specific reason. I believe worth is the most important part of the equation, and it's the only part of the equation that is given. There's nothing in the world you can do to earn worth, and nothing you can do can take it away. And yet, of all the things in the equation, it's the thing we give up the most. I personally believe in human equality more than just about anything else in life. I just don't understand how I could believe in a creator and then not believe that his creation is all good. And so for me, I believe whether you're a man or a woman, you're worthy. Doesn't matter what your ethnicity is, doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters to me. If you're human, I believe you're born into the world golden. All of the things you've done since you were born don't take away the gold, don't take away the worth. It's just that you have maybe covered up the gold and covered up the worth with a bunch of extra baggage that didn't really belong there. The hard part about personal growth is not trying to find something new. It's about pulling away the shit that you've added on to find what's underneath and true, which is why for a life coach, our greatest belief is every answer you'll ever need is already living on the inside of you. You don't need me to come along and teach you something. You need me to come along and draw something out of you that's already there. But here's the problem. because maybe you've experienced some bad things in life. Not maybe, let's be real. We've experienced some bad things in life. You've allowed those things to start becoming a measurement of your worth. And they were never supposed to be. Sometimes, unfortunately, in a business that is very, very, very recognition driven, if you're insecure, sometimes you allow that recognition to become the biggest curse in your life because it becomes a constant comparison. You constantly measure yourself up against others, which can be a very healthy thing if you do it in a competitive, healthy nature, but it can be a very demoralizing thing when you look at it from a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset. And here's the thing that I really want you to get from this part of the call is that if you are someone, is everyone in here? How many of you have kids? Show me some jazzies. How many of you say, Josh, I believe in my kids more than anything in the world. And I don't care if they're morons sometimes. I would take a bullet for them. And there's nothing about them that's wrong. They may make mistakes, but they are perfect in my eyes. And there's nothing in the world that can hold them back from what they want to do in life. If someone told me my kid wasn't pretty enough, I would slap them across the face. If someone told me that my kid wasn't extroverted enough, if someone told me, well, your kid doesn't have enough experience, your kid would, notice how offended we would be at a lot of the things we say to ourselves if someone said that about our kids. I need you to understand that if human equality is a real thing, and I believe it is, if everyone really was created equal, you're a part of that. Sometimes we are the best in the world at reminding everyone else how beautiful and amazing they are, regardless of their flaws. And we are just the absolute worst in the world about believing it ourselves. Of course, it's always easier to coach someone else than it is you, because you don't have to wake up with their flaws tomorrow morning, right? You get to bless and release. With your own life, you got to look in the mirror and see that stuff, right? But I need you to understand that if you don't work on owning and possessing your worth, none of the other stuff's going to work out. Because what you seek is what you find. It's one of the greatest universal principles that exists. I believe these two principles govern everything we do in life. What you sow is what you reap, and what you seek is what you find. But they work together. Some of you are sowing and you are reaping. It's just that because it's not what you were seeking, you never found it. See, I can plant seed in the backyard and I can water it and I can grow a whole bunch of crops. I mean, at least, maybe not. It's a new build that's probably all jacked up back there. But let's pretend it could grow. But if I'm so insecure, I talk myself out of being worthy of what it was supposed to bring. So I just never even go look for it. I avoid it at all costs and go to the front yard instead. Guess what? The law of sowing and reaping technically worked, but the law of what you seek is what you will find held me back from actually taking a hold of what was mine. Does that make sense? And some of you have been doing the work it takes, but you have already convinced yourself you're not worthy of the harvest you've worked so hard for, so you just never opened your eyes and grabbed it. I hear people all the time asking me, Josh, I freeze up the most when people finally say that they're actually interested in the details. What the hell is that? You're telling me you did all of the work of posting and doing stories and expanding your network and getting on team calls and reading books. You did all of this work, and then the easy part comes along. Yeah, I'm actually interested. And you're like, I don't know what to do. And you freak out and lose your shit. What is that? That is you implementing the law of sowing and reaping, okay? But you haven't fixed the law of what you seek is what you find. You're still looking for yourself to fail. So even when the harvest showed up, you didn't go get it. You self-sabotaged. So what you got to do, you have to work on your confidence and self. You got to do personal development. Guys, personal development is so freaking important. Reading it, but here's another thing I need you to do if you're not. I need you doing affirmations. I need you saying out loud the things you want to believe about yourself, because everything we believe about ourselves is a combination of repetition and emotional experiences. So if you have told yourself 100 times over and over and over how ugly you are, guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to work that hard to tell yourself how beautiful you are. If you've told yourself 1,000,000 times that you don't have what it takes to succeed, you're going to have to tell yourself 1,000,000 more times that you do have what it takes to succeed in order to convince yourself. I always tell people that affirmations are kind of like powerlifting for your spirit and your soul. Affirmations are to your spirit what lifting weights is to your body. And you are not going to have much success in life if your spirit is out of shape. Because your spirit is the depths. It is the foundation. It is the heart and the roots. It is the seed that everything else grows from. And if the seed is nothing, how in the world can it produce something? You see what I'm saying? A lot of you want to have a big, huge ass tree, but you ain't willing to do anything to improve the seed. You see what I'm saying? And what I have found in my business is that when I take time to work on me, everything else works better. Like somehow my emails work better, my posts work better, my invites work better, my calls work better. What's that all about? What you seek is what you will find. So the more I work on myself, the more I open my eyes to what I'm actually worthy and capable of. And it's not that this stuff wasn't already there. It's just that I didn't have my eyes open to see it. The more I work on me, the more open my eyes come to the opportunities that are there. Instead of saying something like, oh my God, I can't believe these 9 girls just pieced out, blocked me, sent me hater messages, blah, blah. Instead, I go, you know what? I recruited 10 girls and one of them turned into a rock star. I guess I better go find 10 more so I can get another rock star. Do you see the difference in the mindset there? And that is the difference between the girl who never has success and the girl who has all of the success in the world, is just the perspective. The girl who has success is the one that just looks, measures, evaluates, and goes, oh, well, glad I figured that out. I need 10 people to get a rock star. I'll just go get 10 more people. That's cool. And then you're that much more motivated and driven to find your next 10 people. Whereas the girl who's over here down and out about the 9 people who quit on her, what does she do? How fast do you think she is to get 10 more people? Not fast at all. If anything, she's like, screw that. I'm not even gonna ask people to join my team. That's a waste of time if 9 of them just disappear. She forgot to count the one that didn't disappear. You see what I'm saying? The last thing is time. And it's my least favorite part of the equation. I hate it. I hate time with all my guts because I'm always in a hurry. I want everything to happen today. I want everything in a rush. I talk really fast. If you don't notice, that's because I want things to happen. I want to get things done. Time can be the biggest blessing or the biggest curse in your life. I always say that we are constantly reaping the results of the last 3 to 6 months of work that you have put in. And this is the tricky thing about business. What you want to think you can do is get on a team call and get really excited and get really passionate and work all week long and hit Success Club 30. And that's not what happens. Homegirls that are hitting Success Club 30 is because they had a season of their life where they showed up for like 6 months with the kind of energy and passion of someone who hit Success Club 30 without really hitting much numbers at all. In fact, they're probably struggling to just hit even Success Club 5 for the first 3 to 6 months that they showed up like that, but they kept showing up like that. And so time can kind of play a trick on us. Because unfortunately, we're constantly looking at the numbers we're getting right now and thinking that's a reflection of the work we did yesterday. And in reality, it's a reflection of the work we did like 6 months ago. And so I'm constantly trying to challenge myself. When things don't look the way I want them to look right now, I need to ask myself, what can I do now to change what I'm going to have 6 months from now, not what I'm going to have tomorrow? And so you have to constantly live with an awareness of 6 months down the road and not allow today's results to trick you into thinking that everything's screwed up. One of the number one things I hear coaches ask me all the time, oh my God, I need a new onboarding process. My onboarding. Now, your onboarding process is fine. You just change it every single month and you haven't done it long enough to even find out what works and what doesn't work. You're just changing it. Change. Of course it doesn't work. That's like changing your meal plan every 30 days. None of these work. Yeah, no shit, because you didn't work any of them long enough to find out if it works. So what I need you to do, as hard as this is going to be, is to take what I've taught you tonight, and I'm just going to beg of you to trust me. I know it's 10 o'clock at night if you're on Eastern time right now, and I know you're tired and you're ready for me to shut up and go to bed, but I need you to trust everything I taught you tonight for 6 months before you even try to question it. That's hard, because I'm going to tell you right now, your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities are going to want to question it every single day. But the people who have success are the people who find a way to push those questions aside, put their head down, and do what it takes for 6 months, and then look up and see, how far did I get? But anything less than 6 months, you haven't even gone long enough to even try to measure what you have or haven't done. Put your head down and do the work it takes. And I swear to you, 6 months from now, your life will be completely different. Okay, Jitanya, I'm done.
No, you're not done. Keep going.
Forever.
No, that's amazing. One of the truths that you said that I absolutely love was finding the 10 people, because I mentor a lot of coaches and I see them come in and out of this business, and I see them get tripped over losing the one or losing the 9 instead of focusing on the 1.
Right.
And I'm over here like, I got Lindsay. Woo! Everybody else gone, but Lindsay's still going. You know what I mean? And I think that's the piece that I wish that coaches could hold on to, even if it's one challenger. You invited 30 people, but one person said, I'll do it. You need to hold on to that one. And I love that, because that's the piece that I run with every single month for 7 years. It's like, all right, I got 3 girls. I've got one coach who hit Emerald this month. Let me keep going. Let me find another Emerald out of the 10 that decided they weren't going to do it. And that's golden. That's a big piece of consistency and sticking with it that you talked about in your message with your 4 points. One thing that I want you guys to hear, because I heard it at Super Saturday and it really touched my heart, and I think it's something that every coach needs to hear, is your story about your kid in Disney. I know we can unrecord or whatever, but that was huge, because I heard John Maxwell